What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out something new from Freewell. They have released some Avata 2 filters and polarizers, as well as UV protectors that just pretty much snap on the end of your 04 camera for your DJI Avata 2. Today we're going to check out this 4-pack. We're going to check out the polarizer and the UV filter on my Avata 2, and I'm going to show you their brand new tripod that just came out. It's kind of a replacement for my everyday carry carbon fiber lightweight tripod. So let's jump into it and let's fly the Avata. Let me show you the different filters here in a sunny and a dark environment, so you can get an idea of what each filter does and kind of how it ups the video quality, clarity, and depth and your black points of your DJI Avata 2 footage. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, the Avata does surprisingly well with no filter. You can see the white hot in the yard here of the grass. You can see the pretty good definition of the grass itself, the single blades of grass. And when you're in the dark, you can see big contrast from dark to light outside. It looks a little hot outside the shadows. And once you get back into the light, it adjusts kind of quickly. Off in the distance, you can see the cloud definition here, and there's a pretty good blue in the top of the sky, but notice how hot the wood chips appear from this height. And I'm going to show you some comparison from the ND filters. Once we start bringing it down a few notches, you'll see a little bit of difference as I go. Now, finding out what filter to use for this certain day and conditions can be difficult, and you'll just have to play around with those. ND 8 doesn't appear to have a whole lot of effect. And back over in the shadows, again, like looking kind of around the same, around the side of the yard here, and I'm gonna see a pinker color up in the flowers and a little bit more of a kind of a maybe less of a true tone, a little more browns in the ND8 filter, and that's because of the dark shadow of the ND8. And that's what we typically use on like maybe a little bit of an over cloud cover day. Right there, again, it's adding a little bit of motion blur in the ND8, which is kind of nice. Some people prefer that. So if you're looking to have more of a cinematic feel, it kind of softens it up around the edges of this ND8 filter. And you'll see that in most of the filters that we're testing today. As we get a little bit higher, still see pretty good definition with the no filter side. And a very, very blue sky with the no filter option. And the ND8 filter is kind of evening it out. You know, think of it like a pair of sunglasses. Right here off in the horizon, giving us just a little more browns, a little less blue, maybe a little more cinematic look. And here we're diving back down to the yard, just a little bit better on the ND8 filter, but it doesn't seem to be that much of a contrast and difference between the two at this point. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out what our sweet spot is going to be for today's sunlight. But not terrible, but not drastically different with the ND8. And I kind of figured that. So we're going to move on to ND16 now, and you can get a comparison. No filter here, and it is adjusting the light pretty well, and that's the manual setting. And ND16, it's also set to the same setting. And here you see pretty good color on both sides. And now the ND16 filter is leveling out just a little more. Here up in the sky, a little more cinematic look to the ND16 filter. And a little more true to color with no filter, if that's what you're looking for. And here it almost looks like the no filter is compensating better in this particular setting. And it could have been just a little difference in the sun, flying at just a little bit different time after I flew the first ND8 filter. Now we're on the ND32, and as we go, you'll see a progression. When I get to the 64, you're going to notice a big change from the 8 to the 64. The 64 ended up being the filter that I would choose for this day. And you notice how everything's just a little bit softer. It kind of softens things up. It's not quite as contrasty. So some people are looking for that in filmmaking. Not quite as sharp. Softened up just a little bit there. And on our way back down, ND32 doesn't appear to be making any drastic changes from the 16. As we get closer to the ground, you can see more definition and more true to color browns and greens. Looking pretty good there. In the Indy 64, you can see that motion blur, which I love. Grass is softened up a bit there. We still got detail in the middle. And here in the shadows, it's a little darker shadow there. And outside the dark, you can see that there's not a lot of light adjustment there. And that's really nice. If you don't want to see that light adjustment from when you come from dark to light, that's going to be important for some people. It always got on my nerves because the GoPros are terrible at it. The GoPros always seem to have a hard transition from dark to light. And here coming back down, the 64 seems to be pretty well adjusted there. And the greens look a little greener. And again, you got that little bit of motion blur that you can really start to see when we get low down to the ground. Again, which is a pretty cool effect. So now we're going to go back outside and we're going to test out the ultraviolet UV filter on the left and the polarizer PL filter on the right here and show you the results of both of those freewheel filters. So now let's go ahead and check out the polarizer, and the contrast between the polarizer and no filter, again looking pretty decent here. And coming back down on this dive right here toward the wood chips. Just seems to be a little more definition than what I'm getting with no filter. So it does do quite a bit. You're really going to notice this out in beach locations where you got a really white hot sun and a lot of sand and sea mist. Let's check out the UV filter. And again, it's pretty hot coming out of there. And it's pretty crisp and contrasty with the UV filter. I mean, if you wanted to start with just a little bit of change in your video, have a little crisper look to it, start out with UV filter. I think these were like $20. So not a bad investment for just a little more details in the video. And some people really like that. And you really can kind of tell looking at the UV filter here versus no filter. Some of that stark contrast and detail just amplify a little bit with the UV filter. That's looking pretty good. Not bad, Freewell, not bad. All right, guys, that was a lot of fun to test out Freewell's 4-pack, as well as the UV filter and the polarizer. I grew up at the beach, so we grew up wearing polarized lenses, and when we would go out on the boats and go fishing, it would allow you to see down into the water and you could see the fish. And what that does is it takes a lot of the glare off the surface of the water, and it works very similar when you put it on a drone and you take it up, not in the water, but you take it up in the air, in the clouds where there's all that haze. It cuts through some of that haze for you and lets you see the horizon and lessens that whiteout. There's kind of a thing in the drone world that we've been experiencing for a long time. Once you get up above a little bit of where you can see the horizon, everything blows out and you lose all the cloud definition. And it's nice that stock, it looks pretty good. It looks better than the DJI Avata by leaps and bounds. But with a polarizer on there, it really levels up your Avata 2. So I would take the $50 investment, or at the least get yourself one of the polarizers or the UV filter for $20. Start there, work your way up, and play around with the manual settings with your ND filters instead of leaving it on the standard mode. So go ahead and experiment with it and find out what makes the best image for you, because as a commercial Part 107 pilot, it's kind of like the go-to that most of these pilots are using. They already have these in their bag. So if you're a professional pilot, you already know about these ND filters. And Freewell, they've been around for, it seems like over 8 years now. But it was a good test today, and my best result today with our son was definitely that Indy 64 filter. Really kind of brought the definition in the clouds with that really bright, hard sun that we had today. Very ruthless in the backyard, almost blew out all the grass, and you can see that coming around by our trampoline in the backyard. If you'd like to stick around and check out my real travel tripod that Freewell just sent me to, for the end of this video, as a bonus, I'm going to show you my brand new travel tripod. Quite a bit better at $250 versus my $400 tripod that you're watching this on. So I'm going to give you a little comparison of both those tripods. They're both carbon fiber, and this one has some perks on it that I like a lot over my camera store purchased $400 tripod. Okay guys, there you have my 3 carbon fiber tripods that I have right now. I started out years ago buying this Benro one. It has duct tape on it. It's had some damage to it. This had an internal piece that broke, and now I kind of have to hold it and screw it to a certain point to be able to get these 3 legs out and properly extended. So this one's, you know, it hasn't been abused either. It's been in the studio. It hasn't been on any trips or through the airlines or anything like that. But over time, this one just kind of failed me. And when you're using a broken tripod for any amount of time, it just really gets on your nerves. So it is nice to have a new upgrade to that. But only a couple months ago, I bought the Benro Cyan Bird, or whatever it's called, TCBC15. If you want to look this up, this is a super sweet tripod. It has kind of a different style to it. It has not round legs here, but it has sort of oval shaped legs, which is kind of interesting. And the reason that I bought this in a camera store was it had these type of legs that, instead of unscrewing and screwing, and the problem with this type of tripod is whenever you're kind of going to set up your camera, every once in a while you go to walk away from the camera and the tripod falls over because one of these wasn't screwed in all the way on one side. So that's kind of a pain. To alleviate that, I went to this design, which allows me to just flip this out real quick, extend the leg, snap it back down, and I know that it's snapped down by looking at it. Here you don't really have a visual reference that this leg's tightened up, so it's nice to go to this system. However, over time, these have been great. They're a great upgrade from the original twist lock legs, but now I'm using Freewell's, and the neat thing about this one is that I don't know how this is going to work out over time. I don't know what the longevity of this product is going to be, as far as if something internal inside this leg system breaks. That's going to be probably almost impossible to fix, but maybe Freewell will give you some kind of warranty on them, maybe a 1-year warranty. But if you twist, it unlocks. And this is the selfie stick leg. This is one con of this tripod, because when I go to untwist the leg, sometimes I have to hold it at the top, or it's going to start to unscrew itself. Even though I have it as tight as I can get it, still happens. So I want to twist to the left there, give it a good hard twist. You can see it's untightening again, so I'm gonna have to hold it like this. And now I can bring out and extend out all the way down. And I just give it a left twist all the way down, and I get all those legs out, and putting it back in is super easy as well. Give it a twist to the right and you're locked again. So unlock all the way out, and then give it one more turn to the right, and that locks every section of the leg in. And all the way to the left again, kind of brings it all the way down and lets it compartmentalize. So unscrewing that again, like, makes it a selfie stick, which these other 2 tripods don't have. That's kind of cool. And one other thing that I noticed that this tripod came with, which is nice, is this big soft handle, which allows you to articulate the head forward and back on sort of our elevator axis, if you will. We have rubber grips down bottom, and this one has a hook in the middle where the head extends up and down. This is nice because you can add a weight on here. Notoriously, these tripods are pretty lightweight, and sometimes in like a beach setting, if you have a super expensive camera on the head of this tripod, you don't want this lightweight tripod to blow over, so you need some kind of sandbag system, and they already have their hook there. Whereas the Benro one here, it has a spot for hooking something in there, but it doesn't come with a hook for the bottom for you to add a sandbag on the bottom of this one. So that one would be something you'd have to figure out how to sandbag. Like, I've seen people sandbag the bottom around the feet, and that works out. But this one comes with the hook, which is nice. The head itself also, if you twist this again, that loosens it, allows you to set your degrees of pitch here. which is cool. You can tighten that into place. This right here, if you turn it to the right, it allows this to go any direction you'd like. And then up here, this one allows this mount to come off. So we can take this mount off, and it has some extra locking mechanisms there for it to be a little bit safer. And now I also have my leveler up here as well on the very top. Now you're gonna have to level it first before you put your mounting block on there. So that's one kind of drawback. I wish that stuck out a little bit, but that's gonna be hard to see at certain points. So this can be leveled out, and this turns left and right, which is nice for making those nice pans. And locking this and this locks the head back into place. And I talked about a super expensive camera. It will support up to about 8 kilograms on this particular tripod, so that's cool. It does weigh under 2 pounds as well. It weighs about 1.9 pounds, they say. My Benro super expensive one in the middle actually outweighs it by about 2.5 pounds travel weight. And then this old Benro over here, this one's probably I would say it's still around 2.5 pounds. Not bad for how big it is. It feels very similar to the same weight as my newer Benro, but this one is beating it in portability as far as being able to take the legs in and out. I do like this system. It feels cheaper to me, and I'm wondering what the longevity of these plastic components here that operate this are going to be in the long run. They could over time dry rot, or maybe they get a little corroded out in whatever environments you're filming in. But that's something to take in consideration. It seems like I'm buying a new tripod at least every couple years. As a videographer, I have right now so many different tripods, but I only have 3 carbon fiber ones. But I like the versatility of this one, the quick setup of it, and the fact that this one can come off, as I don't have to carry around an extra monopod, and there's one right there ready for me when I need it. So I think it's pretty cool. $250. It's cheaper than my Benro Cyan Bird tripod, and I think this one's definitely going to be going out in the field with me more. So you're going to see some shoots with this one coming up on the channel, but I wanted to show you that because they were nice enough to send us that. I'm not sponsored by Freewell. I don't make any money off of, they don't pay me for making videos. So I just get gear to check out and use. And over the years, you guys have been seeing the filters and a lot of their gear right off their website. I've been using on the daily for about 10 years now on the Drone Camps channel. So I appreciate you for watching and looking for honest reviews on YouTube. But guys, I'm Justin Davis. Take care, and I will definitely see you on the next one.